closing out on the basketball is an important defensive principle to teach. What I want to do is break down how you get there on a closeout, what's the footwork on a closeout, and the different variations that we'll teach at different age levels with different players, all right? So just basically on a closeout, we've got Coach Gallo over here, we've got Coach Bobby, they're both on offense. Coach Nick is on help line right now, okay? Coach Gallo skips the ball to Coach Bobby. Now Coach Nick is gonna have to get out there in what is known as a closeout, okay? The approach on the closeout that we teach is sprint for 2 to 3 steps, then start chopping your feet. Your hands have got to be active. What that means is your hands have got to go above your shoulders, and we want both hands up on that shooter, okay? Let's just see that real quick. He's running out. Now, as Coach Nick's going to get there, remember we want to have defensive communication, so he's going to yell ball, 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 all right? Once he's there on the closeout, now let's break that down. First thing we want to talk about on the closeout is Coach Nick's hands, all right? What we'll teach our younger players is to make a rainbow or to fan your hands, okay? So Coach Nick will have both his hands up, all right, because we want to contest the shot. We always want to teach our players to guard that three-point line, all right? But now Coach Nick is going to make a rainbow with his hands, locking them in that defensive spot so he can play in the passing lanes, okay? So if Coach Bobby's in triple threat, Coach Nick will come out, hands up, ball, 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 and then he ends up making the fan. Let's see that live real quick. So Coach Nick runs out and fans away, okay? Coach Nick's hands are gonna drop when Coach Bobby drops the basketball, okay? So once we don't feel like he's gonna shoot the ball anymore, now we can start playing in the passing lane. That's what we'll teach our younger players. As players get older, okay, and they start being able to shoot, we can't drop both hands anymore because shooters are crafty, right? And we train our shooters man down, hand down. That's what starts to happen once players get to the high school level, okay? So at the high school level, if Coach Nick has both his hands in the passing lane and he's down in the stance, Coach Bobby's gonna rise up and shoot. All right, that's an open shot at the high school and college level. So what we teach our older players, 8th graders and up, once you close out both hands up, you're gonna keep one hand contesting the shot and drop just one hand into the passing lane. Let's see what that looks like. Sprint 3, chops, 1, and then we're there. All right, so that's how we're always gonna teach that in terms of hand placement. Now let's talk about body positioning and feet. You'll notice when Coach Nick came out, he split Coach Bobby's top leg down the middle of his body. That makes sure he's on the right angle, and we're forcing baseline. That's what we're gonna teach our younger players, force baseline. Doesn't matter what side, we're gonna teach them just generic brand of close out, both hands up, rainbow down, close out, forcing baseline. To close out baseline, split their top foot down the center of your body. Okay, let's see what that looks like right now. He's coming out, sprint 3, chops, splitting them down the middle. Okay, so that's how we'll end up teaching our younger players to close out. Now, as they start to get older, we're gonna start teaching them to close out weak hand side. All right, so generally basketball players, hey, if I'm not with my non-dominant hand and I'm gonna penetrate, they're not too good at it. So we wanna force that, all right? So let's just say Coach Bobby was struggling with his left hand. Coach Nick is gonna change his stance on a closeout now, and he's actually gonna give up middle penetration, but again, we're just betting on the fact that players can't dribble the ball with their weak hand. All right, so that would end up looking like this. He's gonna come out. So right now, we're daring this offensive player. Put the ball down 1 to 2 dribbles with that weak hand, and let's see if you can do that, okay? Now, what's extremely important on a closeout is guarding the first dribble. All right, extremely important, and there's certain footwork that we've got to have to do that, okay? If Coach Nick is in a stance right now, all right, if Bobby goes slow left, all right, what Coach Nick does not want to do is bring his left foot to his right and move his right foot out. Let's get close on their feet so we can see that. As he's coming, Coach Nick doesn't want to bring this foot over and then that foot over. All right, that's the wrong footwork, okay? We don't want that at all. Instead, what Coach Nick needs to do is just push off this left foot out. Okay, now he's gonna wanna create some contact, or there will be contact. And generally in basketball, that's when the sideline official calls a foul. Because at contact, Coach Nick will have his left hand and put it right on Coach Bobby's hip, okay? That's a foul. Let's see what that looks like every time. He penetrates right there, that's a foul in basketball. All right, so we don't wanna teach our players to foul, obviously. We want them to be on the floor as long as possible. So what we teach is at contact, your hands gotta fly. Okay, you got to chest up strong on the ball, and your hands got to fly. Okay, and you really got to depend on those feet to be in the right spot. So at contact, Coach Nick's hands will fly, and he will try to level Coach Bobby off and not allow him to penetrate underneath the elbow. All right, remember, offensively, defensively, it's just chess. All right, Coach Bobby's trying to penetrate underneath that elbow. That's what we teach our players. Coach Nick is trying to get him to avoid that. All right, so his feet are extremely important when he's going to cut off the basketball. Let's see his feet one more time. As he's going to cut off, he's going to end up sliding over and beating Coach Bobby to the spot. All right, closing out on the basketball, extremely, extremely important defensive principle when teaching.
So coaches, let's recap. From the help line, the defensive player needs to sprint their first 2 to 3 steps and then chop their feet so they're ready to react. They have to communicate as they're approaching the ball, so yelling ball, 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 ball is generally how that's done. They need to arrive to their offensive player on the catch. Their hands have to be above their shoulders so they're ready to contest the shot. Depending on their age, can depend on how you teach your players to either force baseline or force that offensive player to drive with their weak hand. Guarding the first 2 dribbles is extremely important, so they must have the proper footwork, and when contact happens, their hands have to be above their shoulders so the ref doesn't call a foul.